Hi, I'm Jan Billington from Maddocks Farm Organics, and I've got an edible flower farm just outside Kentisbeare, so come and have a look round. Right, so this area here is where we grow a lot of the roses for wedding cakes. We're licensed with the Soil Association, so all of our flowers are grown organically. We're the only ones in the country that actually have an organic edible flower license. And so a lot of the edible flowers surround this area. And this area here is primarily where we grow for local restaurants, the main one being the Jack in the Green. I've worked with Matt Mason down there for 5 years. And yeah, he pretty much tells me what he wants me to grow and I grow it for him, which is lovely. Okay, so we grow English lavender here, which is a much better culinary variety than the French, which is more used for the perfume industry. There's been a huge resurgence in the fashion lavender. It always used to be associated with grannies, but now a lot of chefs are using it for savoury as well as sweet dishes. So fantastic with game, with duck, with lamb, all those sorts of things. Where you would use rosemary, you can substitute lavender, and as you can see, the bees absolutely adore it. And it's also perfect to cut the long sprigs and have in prosecco or cocktails. So fabulous edible flower. We grow a lot of roses here, all British, all organic. As I said, we are licensed with the Soil Association, and I take the whole organic side of things extremely seriously. Not only because of if you're eating flowers, obviously you need them not to have been sprayed. You don't want anything toxic, and all of the flowers that are imported in some way or other have been treated with herbicides or insecticides, which is why they're not safe to eat from a florist or a supermarket. So we don't spray anything here. We're a very green company. We have a very low carbon footprint. We have UV filtration to filter our water rather than chlorine. We have a reed bed system for our wastewater, photovoltaic cells for electricity, solar panels for hot water. As the company has grown over the last 15 years, we've kind of invested a huge amount back into being as green as it's possible to be. And we also sell a lot of the organic roses into the British organic perfume industry. This particular variety, we will sell about 200 kilos of flowers over the summer, which will be going out to be processed. So lovely job spending my summer picking roses. So here's some of our cornflowers, looking slightly worse for wear. We had 7 weeks of absolutely no rain whatsoever. We're in the lee of the hills here, and there was all those, do you remember those big storms going all around Exeter, and there was thunder and lightning, and we sat here and we didn't get a drop. Anyway, we had 1.5 inches last Wednesday, and it completely flat packed everything, but the cornflowers are starting to recover now. One of my favourite flowers, partly because they're so resilient, but also they're beautiful whole, they're lovely crystallised, they hold superbly on a wedding cake. They're lovely just as petals. The chefs love using just the little petals on dishes because they're so delicate. Yeah, what's more to say, they just shout of summer, and the bees love them. We give a percentage of our profit each year to bumblebee conservation and also to British butterflies. This year we're doing, I think it's the 15th of July, is 3 weeks of the big British butterfly count. And it's a horrendous and shocking statistic that in the last 20 years British butterflies have declined by 40%. So we are trying to reverse that trend by bringing awareness to it, even on just this tiny little scale, and by giving some funds towards it and some a little bit of recognition, and just trying to spot and identify British butterflies. It's been a better year for them this year, but certainly for the last 2 or 3, it's been terrible with really cold springs, and you know, it's having a massive population, massive decline on the population. Business has probably doubled year on year for the last decade. We were the first to set up an online shop, and about that time I was also made an organic hero by the Soil Association, which gave us some fantastic press coverage. Yeah, as a result of that and a great social media following, which is fantastic, we sell a lot of edible flowers out via the website shop into London and beyond, up to Scotland, all sorts of places all around the country. And our flowers go out mainly to individuals, but also to, you should get those, also to shagging soldier beetles. You can't miss that, can you? It's got to make the news. But also, yeah, all around the countryside, and yeah, we've been involved for such a tiny organisation. We've been involved in some fabulous projects. We've sold a load of flowers recently to Jamie Oliver for a TV show. We supplied 7,000 flowers to the launch at the Royal Albert Hall of the Spectre movie with James Bond for the cocktails. So just all sorts of amazing. I never know what the next phone call is going to bring. So again, this is one of the little projects that we put together for wildlife, and this is little bumblebee hotels, rather luxurious. And I was very excited. We've got loads of mason bees that have moved in, laid their eggs in the old bamboo canes and sealed them up, so we'll have lots of red-tailed mason bees in the spring, which is great. As you can tell, conservation is really important to us, but actually we're mainly in the business of growing the edible flowers, and our biggest customer is wedding cake makers, and also individuals that are making their own wedding cake, which is lovely. Great fashion for naked wedding cakes, where they're uniced and just adorned with beautiful edible flowers and fresh fruit, or petal confetti, which is just where you pull all of the petals off some of the beautiful flowers such as the cornflowers and roses, and then just literally scatter them over the icing and they stick. And it's the simplest thing in the world to do, and saves brides and grooms an absolute fortune. You know, you can buy a £14 box of flowers and that's it, your wedding cake's done. So, you know, what more could you possibly want? Okay. So demand has just gone insane. Partly due to the fashion for edible flowers. They've kind of sort of superseded microsprouts. It used to be a few years ago that you would just get a chef putting one viola on the side of a plate or dropping a borage in a Pimm's, but now chefs are starting to understand all the massive different flavours that there are within flowers. I mean, nasturtiums, for example, are fabulous, and so versatile. The flowers taste of rocket, they're spicy like a watercress. The leaves can be made into pesto, and which is just lovely because you get that nice peppery kick. And then when you get the green seeds later in the autumn, you can pickle those and they make false capers. So absolutely lovely, 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 lovely flowers. And again, the bees love them. So if the bees love them, we love them. So all good. And year on year for certainly the last 6 years, our demand has just doubled and doubled and doubled. We're now getting more than 700 hits a day on the website, which is insanity for a 3-acre field. And it means that it's not that I'm not enjoying it as much anymore, because I love the job. It's just I'm spending a disproportionate amount of time answering questions on the website and email, rather than going outside and growing and having fun, which is the bit that I really enjoy. So it's just a question of getting that balance right, because I don't really want to grow the business anymore. I love the business being the size that it is. I love the fact that it's small and we're a bespoke business and we pick every box of flowers to order. So if you just wanted orange, you just get orange. If you just wanted reds, you just get reds. But it's it's just managing this phenomenal demand, which is just crazy, but fun. So the future, I have no idea. Obviously this bubble can't keep expanding at the rate that it is. It's insanity, but great fun, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I don't want to grow the business too much bigger than it is now. There's bits that we'd like to do more of, like the conservation and the wildlife. I love growing the roses. I'm really interested in the whole botanical side of things and the resurgence in small artisan businesses, the gin makers, the chocolate makers that are starting to use flowers, both fresh and dried flowers, because we produce dried flower petals as well. So lovely to do a bit more with that. I love all the savoury herbs, flowers, the spicy flowers, the citrusy flowers like the little begonia here. But beyond that, I have no idea, except to say that the future's looking rosy. Is that too corny?